I'm making a biography video about myself because I'm planning on having quite a few videos posted and they seem totally unrelated, and I want to explain what the link is between all of them. When doing a biography, I feel stumped. I have a hard time summing up a lifetime in a few words, and when I'm done, I feel like it's boring and dry and doesn't really explain who I am and why I do what I do. First off, I don't define myself by how old I am, where I was born, where I went to school, in the normal ways that people define themselves. I define myself by what I do and what I accomplish, and my artwork and my writing are an extension of who I am, an extension of my body. Recognized as an artist by the news media when I was about 5 years old, and I was selling photographs by the time I was 12 years old. But I say that I was born, like the Christian notion, born again, when I arrived in Alaska to be a homesteader and live in the wilderness as a mountain man. As a child, I liked photography, owned my own camera, and had a darkroom since the 1960s. In the early 70s, I came to Alaska at 21 years old, and I always had a camera and I was always taking pictures, but I never had the time or the money to do much with these pictures. Over the years, I collected hundreds, probably thousands and thousands of photographs. Many of them got lost when the houseboat sank or due to my rough lifestyle, but quite a lot of them I hung on to. I got my first VHS tape camera back in the 80s and didn't get a lot of footage because the cameras weren't that good and didn't behave well in the harsh environments that I lived in, but I got some early footage and I just had no way to do anything with the footage that I was recording. This is some early 1980s footage that's rare, probably hard to get. I was living subsistence back in those days, had a homestead, out with my sled dogs as my only transportation. I'd be traveling 200 miles with dogs like this. This is all very, very harsh going, heavy weight, not a lot of dogs, living on $2,000 a year. Some of the footage I got is almost unworldly, not of this planet, and possibly not even showable, that people would not accept. A very, very harsh lifestyle of trapping. But what I was doing was accumulating photographs and footage that I would be able to use later on in my life. I had no idea what use I might be able to put it to at the time I took it beyond. I simply liked taking pictures and liked taking video. So I was taking videos and photographs of a lifestyle not many people get to see or know about or hear about. I accumulated 4 homesteads. I cut 200 miles of trap line. I built 12 cabins in my life. This is one of them. This is where I lived for 20 years. I killed bears. I was living like Jeremiah Johnson and accumulating footage, recording all of it. And I see a connection between my videos, my books, my art, my custom knives, and everything I do. What ties them together is I am promoting a lifestyle through various mediums, trying to speak about another world and what it's like and the beauty of it through the art and the videos. So I lived alone in the wilderness for almost 25 years as a mountain man, not seeing many people. I developed my own way of living and some rules I lived by. And there are little short rules like never bet into another man's game. The line forms behind me. And I would tell people, figure out what you like to do and then find a money angle. So over the years, living in the Alaska wilderness, I acquired a lot of knowledge, but also a lot of interesting video footage that's rare of wildlife, bird life. And so Now in the digital age, I'm able to go back and review all of my recordings and see if I can piece stuff together to speak of this lifestyle. You see, I had a treadle sewing machine that I used. I made a lot of my own clothes. I built that rocking chair. That photograph there is an early picture I took. I'm living off of grouse sitting on the table there, and I'm recording all of this. There's the wood stove that I use to heat and cook with. In this lifestyle, I didn't have a bank account, a driver's license, and ID, and I was more than off the grid. I was off the map and off the planet. And this makes what I've done unusual. Here's a little trapline cabin I built, and this is about 200 miles in the wilderness. It would take a week to get here from the village of Nenana. And so every little thing I brought, every window, every scrap of anything, had to come in 200 miles and took a week to bring in. And other people who I know who live like this are living in the 1800s like mountain men, and that's great, but the disadvantage of that is they aren't people that are going to have a digital camera and know how to use a computer and do anything with the photographs they have. They don't want to share them with civilization. So I never saw myself as living in the past. I saw myself as living in the future, as somebody off the Starship Enterprise, far off in the future, going to another planet, how people are going to live when civilization collapses. The far future, not the far past. So I had nothing against modern things. Although I do admit when I was young out here living this lifestyle, I had the idea to never own anything you couldn't fix and didn't understand. And so here I am, for example, doing my chainsaw trimming. This was my, what I knew about being a carpenter. I was poor, and all I had was that little Homelite XL, and I noticed the oiler wasn't working. I had to keep dipping the chain into the snow to lubricate it and cool it off. Now, I loved my lifestyle very much all my life, and it often sounds like I'm bragging about all my accomplishments, but I need to add that what I have done in my life has come with a very heavy price, and there aren't a lot of people who would trade places with me and pay the price that it cost me to accomplish what I've accomplished and do what I've done and live how I've lived and had the adventures that I've had. One of the things I can say is that I never gave up. There were a lot of things that took years and years and years to accomplish, and taking pictures and video was one of those things. Why was I accumulating thousands of pictures and unable to share them with anybody? Why was I shooting video VHS back in the 1980s and nobody's ever seen it till 30 years later? Why? For many years, my daily routine was the simple chores of, like right now, I'm sitting for hours sewing up holes in the furs, getting furs ready to sell. It was a very easy and simple life. I moved into civilization for various reasons, and that changed things forever. I entered the computer age. I wanted the book I wrote to be in print. The only way to do that was to get a computer, digitize it, and have it printed. And as long as I owned a computer, I might as well learn how to do the internet. I was doing the internet back on the ground floor when the internet first got started. But the problem was the computers of the early days were not very powerful, and I struggled and struggled to edit videos that couldn't, the computer simply couldn't handle a gigabyte, and a terabyte was unheard of. And so it wasn't until modern times I could get a computer capable of editing the videos. So I consider my videos a reflection of all I've learned in a unique lifestyle, and who I am in my videos are inseparable. And what makes my videos unique, I believe they're unique, is because my lifestyle is unique. And I'm a maverick. I'm off doing, not following the rules, doing things my own way. I didn't learn very much in school. I learned on my own. So I write differently. I do casting. My artwork is very different, and I don't put limitations on myself. I make tons of mistakes. I don't worry about it. I press on. And so I'm a character. I can brag about all my accomplishments, but again, it's been a heavy price. And even though I was into computers on the ground floor, over time the computer age has left me in the dust, and there's a lot I don't understand anymore. As you can see here, I've been an inventor most of my life. I've written down all sorts of things that I've designed, things that I've built, things that I do things in a way nobody else does. I solve my own problems. I think about how something could be done, and without hardly any money, I figure out how to do it. Some of my videos are going to be some how-to to help other people deal with the same issues we all have: how to grow a garden, how to work with wood, how to work with metal, how to make a knife. And some of my other videos have to do with my lifestyle, the wildlife, and the beauty of what there is to show. Some of my videos are about linking it to my website to help with sales, and some of it is to help other people appreciate the wilderness that I love. So that's what ties all my videos together, is the love of the wilderness. So I hope this helps you understand and appreciate my videos.